Good evening, collectible connoisseur. It's been a little while. 2 weeks ago was the National Sports Collectors Convention held in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Thousands, tens of thousands maybe gathered to celebrate, buy, sell, trade sports collectibles, cards, and memorabilia. And if you go on YouTube now, you can scroll through video after video after video of content creators who have posted vlogs of their days spent at the National, where they walked the floors and showed us what's in the showcases and highlighted, the breaker section and the autograph section and, the Topps and Panini giveaways, and then, went back to their hotel room and sorted through their pickups from the day. And so this is my National recap pickup video. Of course, I just didn't go to the National. Not that I wouldn't love to, but, my collecting goals are so broad and wide that, going to the National to pick up something to add to my collection is like trying to go to the Louvre to pick up, a cool poster. My needs are a little more simplistic, and, maybe someday. It's said that you can find anything at the National. I'm more interested in collecting everything along a couple of themes. So until I get down to, the nitty gritty, the last one or two of whatever, I'm happy to set aside the crowds and the hustle and the bustle and just keep doing my thing. But I like showing off what I get, so let's take a look at what I've picked up recently. This kind of goes along my theme of Andrew Benintendi graded cards. This is 2018 Topps Archives. This is Benintendi sharing the card with Mookie Betts, titled The Beantown Bees. Of course, Benintendi no longer a Red Sox. He started this season as a member of the Kansas City Royals, and here is his 2022 Topps Living Set card. We'll have to talk about the Living Set sometime, because if I were ever to stray away from kind of my current themes of collecting, I might love to go and just build a Living Set collection. This is a This isn't a photograph. This is a portrait, drawn, painted, whatever. And they go through and publish, they release several cards at a time, and it's driven by demand online, and you buy directly, and then that's how they distribute. Of course, Benintendi no longer a member of the Royals either. He is now a Yankee as of the trade deadline. Hope he does well there. Off of Benintendi, on to Griffey Jr. Here's the 1992 Bowman Ken Griffey Jr. in a PSA 9. Here's an interesting little card. 1996 Upper Deck Retail Predictor. This is in a near mint to mint PSA 8. Here's the thing. I typically don't collect PSA 8s. I kind of like to have my card grade be equal to or better than the decade in which the card was published. So, for instance, anything in the 90s, I'd want a PSA 9 or better. I actually bought this card by mistake online. It happens. You're scrolling through eBay and, you see Ken Griffey Jr.'s face, and it actually, I set criteria in my search, and I probably had PSA 9 or 10 or 9.5, even though those don't really happen. And whoever was selling this card, mislisted it or characterized it as a 9 when it was not. It was an 8. So this was actually in a box of cards that I have that my intent is to turn around and sell them. And I was going through that box, and I picked it up, and I looked at the PSA website and the population report online for this particular card. I found that There is one card graded 10 of this issue. There's just one graded 9, and there's just two graded 8, and that is the entire population of graded cards for the 1996 Upper Deck Retail Predictor. So I figured, you know what, with such a low population, it's so unlikely that I'm going to see the 9 or the 10, or see it at a price that I want to purchase it, so I'm hanging on to that 8. Here's the 1999 Topps Gold Label. Ken Griffey Jr. You see a little shine there. You see a little reflection of my phone, my camera, maybe even my bald head in the background. The Race to Aaron. So this is a really cool card. Ken Griffey Jr. small, but in the foreground. Hank Aaron in the background. I like that card. Switching gears, I also like to collect kind of just the Topps regular, flagship, if you will, issue of Cincinnati Reds graded cards. And again, I like to have the grade, in this case a PSA 7, be equal to or better than the decade listed on the card. So I was looking for a 7 or better. 1971 Topps are actually notoriously hard to grade. Number one, these things are not typically cut evenly. In fact, you can tell this one is it's kind of lean on the border on the bottom. It's not even necessarily terribly generous at the top, but that border at the bottom is probably what started to push this to a lower grade. And the black edges and corners really highlight if there are nicks or dings or anything amiss with them. So finding a black card with the borders and the corners relatively intact is actually a little bit of a chore. And so I really like this 1971 Tops Tie Klein. Tie Klein was just a reserve outfielder, pinch hitter in the early 70s with the Reds. Here's a 1972 Dennis Menke. This would have been his first year with the Reds. Menke came over and started with the Reds in the 1972 season. He was a part of the big Joe Morgan trade. So the Reds traded Lee May, Tommy Helms. Forgive me, I don't remember. There's got to be someone else. Over to the Astros, and they got Menke, Geronimo, of course, Joe Morgan, and I believe they got Jack Billingham as well. This is 1972 Dennis Menke in a 7. Oh, and one of the things I love about this card, so early 70s, even into the mid 80s, Topps would airbrush the uniform, so to portray Menke in a Reds uniform. This hat is so egregiously airbrushed into a Cincinnati C. But there you have it. In fact, I believe the early 70s helmets, this is a batting helmet for the Reds, were all red. No black bill on this. But Dennis Menke, 1972 Topps. Good times. Here's a 1985 Topps, John Franco. The Reds had a huge run of really quality, closers that kind of came through here. I kind of think it all started with John Franco. John Franco should, maybe will be in the Hall of Fame someday. He was a save machine. He would close the door. First for the Reds, and he was with the Reds through the mid to late 80s, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. I'm trying to remember if he was around in 90. I don't think he was. I think that's the year that he started with the New York Mets, and then he had a great run with the Mets through the late 90s. And this was, it's not his, it's technically his rookie card. I don't think, this might be his rookie card. But here it is in a mint 9. Love Franco. And of course, subsequent Reds relievers include like Rob Dibble, Randy Myers, Aroldis Chapman. There's just been a litany of great Reds relievers, and Franco really kind of was one of the harbingers of that line. Although, if you want to argue, you could go back to the 70s and the Pedro Bourbones and the fellows that Sparky Anderson would trot out of his bullpen. Anyways, I digress. This is 1986. Tops, Dave Parker, the Cobra. This is a guy that should be in the Hall of Fame, and I think he probably will be at one point. He won an MVP. He won a couple of batting titles. He was a 7-time All-Star. He was a 2-time World Series champ. And fun fact about Dave Parker. He was the player that was at bat in the 1989 World Series between the Giants and the A's when the earthquake struck during the game. And some would say that just Parker coming up to bat probably set the earth to a trembling. Last card. Every now and then you bump into a card and you're like, I need this card in my life. And I've found this 2019 Topps update. This is an image variation, so a short print. Derek Dietrich in the red tank top, showing off, his guns and his tats. And, again, I just have newfound respect, number one, for Derek Dietrich. Number two, for just how cool baseball players can be. And then, number three, for Topps, for making this card. Derek Dietrich, 2019 Topps update in a mint 9. Those are my pickups from around the time of the National Sports Collectors Convention. Maybe somewhere down the road we'll go to one and pick up some other good stuff. But until then, I'll keep collecting and showing them off.